Yo, what's going on, Winning Shot family? It's your man, it's your guy, Herbie J. John, listen, I got the Ravens gear on. I got the Ravens hat on. So you know what time it is? It's time to talk about the Baltimore Ravens. Listen, I told the guys that I'd come on here because as y'all know, I'm a Ravens fan passionately. But also, the NFL draft is next Thursday, starting April 24th. The first round does begin. And so I wanted to come on here beforehand and give you all just my personal outlook as a Ravens fan regarding the Ravens' outlook for the 2025 season and draft needs that I think can help us get over the hump. Because I think we've been there for the past couple of years. We've been kind of floating with the Super Bowl, but it's time for us to get there. And there's a lot of things happening in the Ravens organization that I kind of want to discuss, but also kind of focus in and hone in on the draft and the players that we have available to us in the 11 picks that we are allotted this upcoming draft season. So let's start here. When we last left our heroes, Ravens fans, we left with a little bit of bitter taste in our mouth because we lost in the divisional round to the Buffalo Bills. And I'm really just getting to a point now where I'm wanting to talk about this. And so it getting to a point now where we are entering into this next season. So that brings us to the first step of what begins this season, which is the draft. Because the draft starts out before any OTAs, any rookie mini camps, any of that. We've had pro days, we've had the combine, all the good things like that. But now gets to the nitty gritty where these young men have the opportunity to change their lives, change their families' lives by entering and fulfill their own dreams by entering into the NFL. And as a Ravens fan, it's only right that I give you all my take on the Ravens 2025 season, who I think can help us, what positions I think we need the most help in, and who can benefit us the most this upcoming season to help us to continue our winning ways, and not only in the regular season, but help us to propel us into the playoffs as a continued winning franchise. So first thing we're going to do is this. As you all know, if you don't know, but if you're a Ravens fan, you should know this. We have the 27th pick in the first round of the upcoming NFL draft. And as I previously stated, we have a total of 11 picks. Now, if you know the Ravens, that's no surprise. Eric DeCosta, EDC, our general manager, loves to have picks, and that has been a thing since Ozzie Newsome was the GM. So that comes as no surprise to us looking at that. But I think the thing is this. I think a lot of Ravens fans are kind of up in the air because we've had a plethora of picks before in years past, and some picks have worked out and some picks have not panned out. But I think that's kind of one thing that EDC has said in the press conferences is that you want a large volume of picks because it allows you as the team to have some slip ups. Case in point, right? Now, as fans, we don't want any slip ups. We want all these picks to be picks that are going to be used to help the team and be very beneficial, right? And I, for one, would love that as well because, that is what works best for us, right, as a team. When I look at the Ravens organization and the team and the depth and the pieces that we have, I think we're set in a lot of positions. Obviously, quarterback. Lamar is still going to be Lamar. He's obviously quarterback one. Running back, Derrick Henry's coming back for a second season. So I think that helps. Justin Hill stepped up in a big way this past year. Wide receiver. Zay and Bate show that they are clearly wide receiver 1 and 2, but then we went ahead and also signed DeAndre Hopkins, which I think will be a very, very strong wide receiver 3 guy for us this year. I love the pickup. I wasn't, necessarily as sold on it at first, but I have since really started to really kind of fall in love with that pickup for us. I love the fact that we were very active. I think we've kind of waited around before, and that's kind of our mantra is waiting around when it comes to free agency. And so I think that from us picking up Nuke, DeAndre Hopkins with that contract for the year, I think it definitely puts us in a good position going into the season at the wide receiver position. Do I think that will stop us from picking up another wide receiver in the draft? Definitely not. But I think that was a great pickup and a great signing. That pushes us to tight end. Tight end gets kind of dicey for us because all of my tight ends, Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, as well as Charlie Kolar, are in the final year of their deals. There's been a lot of speculation because as you Ravens fans remember, Mark Andrews dropped that 2-point conversion that would have tied the game up in the division round. A lot of fans are still bitter towards Mark about that, and that's kind of the last thing on their minds, as you can imagine, as that was the last game for us this past season. However, he's still Mark Andrews at the end of the day, in my personal opinion. I think that he should for sure get another season with us to finish out the contract and push forward. However, there's been a lot of speculation that Mark Andrews is on the trade block. And will he be a Baltimore Raven come September when we start the regular season? That question is up in the air. Also knowing EDC, with the draft coming up, he's a trade potential. When he talked about him in the pre-draft presser, they asked him about Mark and, would he be a Raven? Starting in September, how is that looking? And not Mark, EDC gave a very, I think, vague answer by saying that we don't really know what the future holds. We love Mark. We, grateful for what he's done for the organization, but we don't necessarily know what that means for him going forward. Now, that was kind of interesting to say from EDC because at the end of the season, we lost that game. Everybody was standing beside Mark. It was, we love him. He'll be back, blah, blah, blah. And they kind of doubled down on that when they picked up his option, his player option here at the beginning of this month, or maybe it was last month. That was like $11 million, kind of solidified that, hey, he's staying in Baltimore for at least this upcoming season. But with the current news swirling around of Mark Andrews potentially being traded, it's like, okay, well, what's next at the tight end position? It was, once again, if you follow the Ravens, it's pretty clear. Isaiah Likely is going to be the next guy to step up. When Mark Andrews went down with injury year before last year in the playoffs, he stepped up huge. Even at the end of the regular season, he was wide receiver, tight end one, and played slot. And he's almost like a wide receiver. He's so fast and shifty, but he plays it very well. And I think he does a very good job in regards to taking on that role as tight end one. He was drafted, him and Charlie Kolar, in the 4th round a couple years ago, and they both have done, I think, a phenomenal job kind of being under Mark's tutelage, but also stepping outside their own shell and showing that they are pretty dominant when they need to be, both him and Charlie Kolar. So if something is to happen where Mark Andrews is traded, I think we still are in very good hands in regards to Isaiah Likely and Charlie Kolar. I think both of them would be cheaper options than Mark at the end of this year, just because of who Mark is in the league in regards to he's a top 3-4 tight end in the league. Now, being paid like it, we just saw the big contract that Trey McBride just signed in Arizona. But in regards to overall play, I mean, you could name a couple other receivers who are above, and I mean, couple like 2, who maybe 3, who are better than Mark Andrews in the entire NFL. So for us, I think that we definitely keep him for this upcoming season. Now, once again, EDC could surprise me and pull something out just like he did with Marquise Brown Hollywood a couple years ago with the trade. We wound up trading him to Arizona and getting that pick. Wound up getting Tyler Linderbaum, which, looking back now, was a phenomenal trade because Tyler Linderbaum is an all-pro center in his third. This is his 3rd or 4th year. I think this is going to his 4th year, maybe 3rd. I'm losing track of time because time flies so fast in the NFL. Either way, he's one of the top centers in the league. And that trade, I think, worked out for us. I can't say how it worked out for Arizona because Hollywood's not even in Arizona anymore. But it worked out for us perfectly. So he made the right decision there. So I trust him to continue to make the right decision as it comes to this draft. But I also wanted to go over my glaring needs that the Ravens do have in this upcoming draft. As I said, we have 11 picks. And as I said, and as I've been kind of going over, we have a lot of positions filled. Ronnie Stanley got signed back as left tackle, so that was a huge relief off the offensive line. Andrew Voorhees is the projected left guard, as I just talked about. Like Tyler Linderbaum is the center, of course. Right guard, I think, will continue to rock with Daniel Fahalele. And then right tackle, I think Rosengarten stepped up in a huge way and will obviously be the right tackle going forward. Defensively, we got, of course, Cal Hamilton, Roquan Smith, Marlowe, Nate Wiggins, Nnamdi Madubuike, Owe as the main focal points on that defense right now. So for me, when I think of glaring needs, I think it starts on the defensive side of the ball. I believe that the Baltimore Ravens top need, and I'm you know, I'm not gonna put myself in a box. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna just give you the needs that I think on both sides of the ball, and we'll go from there. And then I'm gonna go into some people and some players that I think could kind of fill that need, void, all that. So needs. So defensively, I think the defensive side of the ball, it will be hit the most for us in this upcoming NFL draft. And I say that because I think we have the most holes, quote unquote. Now, like I said, I think the Ravens roster as a whole is a very good roster right now, but we can always be better. We always want to be better, right? And I think for us, that starts at the safety position. Now, I know you're saying, Jonathan, y'all have one of the best safeties in football, and Kyle Hamilton. That is very correct. But if you know football, you need two safeties at least. We just got rid of Marcus Williams. Darius Washington more than likely will be back. However, because we did not sign him to a long-term deal, this will more than likely be his final year in Baltimore. So with that being said, I think that the Baltimore Ravens will most definitely draft a safety in this upcoming NFL draft. Potentially as a first round pick, because there will definitely be some options. I think that they will be there, and I'll go into them in a minute. Another need I think the Ravens have in this upcoming draft will be linebacker. I think that Roquan Smith is obviously linebacker one. And then I think there has been a lot of discussion on Trenton Simpson from Clemson, my fellow Clemson brother, as an alum. I think that he will come in and be the number two back, linebacker, LB2, Will, whatever, this upcoming season. He had an opportunity to start their last season, but lost that role to Malik Harrison as the season went on. But now that Malik Harrison has gone on to Pittsburgh, as well as we lost a couple other guys this year, I think linebacker will be another position of need for us. Could it be a first-round position pick? Depends on who's there at the draft. As you know, the Ravens draft BPA, which means best player available. That's kind of our thing. So I think that will play a big factor and a big part into kind of what happens with the draft as well. Another need I think the Ravens have along the defensive line as well as corner. So I think that, once again, we're solid at these positions. Don't get me wrong. Once again, I want to reiterate the fact that I think we are solid at these positions. However, I want us to be dominant at every position that we have, because that's how you win Super Bowls. I mean, I think we saw Philly's roster, and they were pretty dominant at every position that they had, from offensive and defensive side of the ball. And I think that we have to, in Baltimore, copy that in order to be dominant, in order to get out of the AFC, get over that hump, and get to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl, right? So I think we have to be dominant there. I think that linebacker, as I said, safety, and now corner, I think will be another position of need. Yes, we just drafted a first-round corner last year, Nate Wiggins. I have all the faith in Nate Wiggins to be a dog this year. I have all the faith in Marlon Humphrey to be a dog again. He showed that last year. Once again, he's back to being all-pro Marlo, which is what we missed and what we needed. So I'm glad he did that. I think that Nate Wiggins did a great job in his rookie year, showing that he can take on the load as a rookie, and now going into his second year, showing us even more that, hey, give me some more. Now that Brandon Stevens has now gone to New York, let me play outside, let me play inside, whatever you want me to do. I think he's definitely more fit as an outside corner at his height and length and speed to cover the top guys. I think he's locked down a lot of guys last year, and it showed us that he can handle that workload. We also just recently signed Chino Awuzie, and I'm pretty sure I pronounced and butchered your name, sir. Please forgive me. He most recently was with the Tennessee Titans. He faced an injury, but now he is healed and will be ready for this upcoming season. He will be, as EDC and Harbs have described, one of the other outside starting corners. Outside of those three guys, corner for us gets a little dicey. We got TJ Tampa. I mean, we got Jalen Armour Davis. And then it gets kind of scary for us on the corner. And for us, who was a team who's had a history of corner injury, I think it's always smart for the Ravens to draft corner depth. TJ Tampa, rookie, limits most of his rookie season because of injury. Jalen Armour Davis, I mean, he's had a injury past with the Ravens. Marlon Humphrey's had some time missed. I mean, Nate Wiggins, he played a good bit of the season, but I think he missed a game or two with injury last season. Clearly, like I said, Mr. Awuzie just got back from an injury with Tennessee. So I think it'd be very smart, once again, as the Ravens organization, to draft a corner. Someone who particularly, hopefully, does not have a history of injury, but also kind of fits into that culture of hard-hitting, but also of a lockdown corner. That's kind of what we specialize in. Lastly, obviously, that D-line. Love the D-line. I think our biggest need right now is going to be edge rusher. And I know that fans are saying, hey, we were like second in the league in sacks last year. But that goes back to just like I said with corner a minute ago, just because we're solid doesn't mean we're dominant. And I want us to be dominant because 2 years ago we led the league in sacks. But I think we need some edge rush and we need some more inside push. I think Namdi Medibike showed last year that he was a guy that is now going to face a lot of double teams because of what he did the season before. And so to counter that, what do? You bring in more dominant dogs. Don't get me wrong. Travis Jones, love him. Roger Washington, love him. Great guys, great rotational pieces, but I want us to be more dominant when it comes to that D-line and have more push to get the ball out faster and to get more sacks. So edge as well as D-line, I think, will also be drafted in this draft. Now, I'm going to go back to the offensive side of the ball. As I did mention a couple of things that I think we could do and get better at. First of which, I think we will draft an offensive lineman because I don't know if we're 100% set on the right or the left guard. To be completely honest with you, I think that the three spots that are solidified are left tackle and Ronnie Stanley, center and Tyler Linderbaum, and right tackle and Rosengarten. Those three positions are solidified. I think we have faith in Andrew Voorhees as well as Daniel Fahalele. However, I don't know if we are 100% sold on them to be the starters. I think push comes to shove, yes, they'll be the starters. But I think that it's always good to bring in competition. And if those guys went out that they bring in, then, hey, they deserve to be there. I think that there are a couple guys in the first round and second round, high picks. I think there's a lot of depth pieces as well for the guard position in this draft. So I am intrigued to see the Ravens add to the offensive line for sure in the draft. I mean, that's something that we just always do anyway. It's something as a good organization, it's a good practice to have to always add in offensive linemen to your team to make them better. I think that we will also, more like I said, add a wide receiver. And late, we could add a running back, unless there's somebody dominant like a Genty there at 27. And we're just like, that's intriguing. I don't know if we would do that, but it would be a very intriguing thing to do, adding them to the team. But then once again, running back is another position in this draft I think is a little bit deeper. So we could wait around a while because it's not a pressing need for us as we have Derrick Henry, who just rushed for 1,800, 1,900 yards last year. So not pressing. So biggest needs for us, first round, I'm going to say top 5 needs, first round. Obviously, I'm going to go safety, edge rusher, D-line, and guard. I'm going to go those 4. I think those are our most 4 pressing needs. So now what I'm going to do is this. The Ravens have the 27th pick in this upcoming NFL draft, as I did mention earlier. I am going to give you a couple guys that I think could be there for us at 27 and who I think could be difference makers in the first round. If you've been following any kind of other Ravens podcast, shout out to Engraven, shout out Nitro, shout out other Ravens producers. I know, Mina Khan, Steve follows Ravens heavily. Mel Kiper, he's a big Ravens guy. So, I mean, these people, shout out to, the other Ravens analysts who kind of follow the Ravens heavily and kind of report on the Ravens heavily as well, and other Ravens content creators. I listen to a lot of them. So a lot of these guys I'm getting ready to name to you, you probably have heard before if you've been following other Ravens podcasts. But this is my take, this is my thing, and I may even introduce a new guy or two that you may haven't heard yet. 27, into the first round. Now, this is the thing I was telling my brother and some other people the other day. For the past probably 4 to 5 years, I say let's go 3 to 4. Let's go 3 to 4 to put a little more of a cap on it. The Ravens have had greatness fall in their lap. I mean, the first person that comes to my mind is Kyle Hamilton. We had the 14th pick in that draft that year, which is the same year we also got Tyler Linderbaum. But in that draft, Kyle Hamilton was originally projected to be like a top 5 pick, but due to his 40 time, teams kind of lost a little steam with it, and Kyle Hamilton fell right in our laps in 14. And going into that draft, I thought Kyle Hamilton was going to be a top 5 pick, so I wasn't really stunting him kind of on draft night. So as he the round later things started to happen, I had fallen in love with Jordan Davis coming to the Ravens. So I was kind of like, oh, okay, here comes Jordan Davis. Got to the pick before us, and Philly jumps us and goes to get Jordan Davis. I'm like, what the heck are we going to do now at 14? And they're like, the Ravens select Kyle Hamilton. I'm like, all right, I'm cool with the pick. Man, I watched the tape on him after we drafted him. I said, oh, this guy's going to be great. This guy's going to be great. And boy, was I right. I mean, Kyle Hamilton is clearly, once again, one of the best safeties in football right now, and it's not even a debate. It's very clear. And so I think that worked well for us, very well. The next draft, I believe we went ahead and got Zay Flowers. He fell into our laps. I thought Zay was gonna go a little bit higher than he did. And in that particular draft, I was like, ooh, do we want Jackson Smith and Jigba from Ohio State? Because he was kind of highly touted. And I didn't know where Zay was going to be. I think Zay was there. And so when that run on wide receivers started, and I believe it started, was that the Jordan Addison year? It might have been Jordan Addison year. I think Jordan Addison was the same class as Zay Flowers, pretty sure. So I believe in that class, it was might have been LA that started that draft with the wide receivers. They went ahead and got Quentin Nelson. Sorry, James. Still worked out for you, but it's not the podcast for that. Jackson Smith and Jigba. Then we had Addison, and the Ravens were able to get at 22 Zay Flowers. And so that worked out really well for us. Zay's been dominant the past 2 years. Really showed that he's one of those ones, and grateful to have him on the team. Last year, once again, Ravens got 30th pick in the draft, and who falls to us? Nate Wiggins, a guy who I wasn't even honestly looking at because once again I'm like he'll be gone. So it's happened at least the past, like I said, 3 to 4 years where the Ravens have had guys fall into their laps. It just at these, we're always drafting the 20s, or like in Kyle Hamilton's situation, 14, but we're usually drafting pretty high in the draft. And so for these guys to have fallen to us and to be as good as they are, man, I'm like, wow, it always happens there for us. So I said all that to say, here's some guys who I think could fall to us but be dominant when they get to us because of the system that we run that could fit them quite well. I'm going to start with a familiar name, or two familiar names. First, let's go Derek Harmon. Derek Harmon is a defensive tackle from the University of Oregon. Oregon University, whichever one you want to say. I have watched some tape on this young man. This young man he's a big young man. He is pulling up the actually information right now for y'all to take a look at. So I'm looking away from my screen. Derek Harmon, he reminds me a little bit of Jordan Davis. And I say that because he's a big guy. He's a big human. And it's loading up slow. I'm trying to get his measurables here so I can tell you a little bit about him. But he pushes the pocket. Let's start there. And as a defensive tackle, that's what you want your guys to do. Push the pocket, be dominant against the run, and be able to create some pass rush as well, right? He's had some sacks. He's had a lot of, I think, quarterback hurries in his career. And so I think that in the Ravens defensive line rotation, I think he will fit in quite well. I do think he'll be a great added addition in that first round. Another guy that I want to highlight, I told you I want some safeties. 2 safeties in the first round. I know y'all have heard a lot. One is Malachi Starks from UGA. I love his tape. I think he's going to be really good in the league, and I would love him to be a Boston Raven. But I also think Nick Amanawari from USC. Now, once again, as a Clemson alum, not excited about South Carolina as a school. However, once you leave South Carolina and become a Raven, you're good in my book, in all honesty. So Nick Amanawari, and up here, I'm probably pronouncing your name wrong too as well. I'm sorry, young man. I mean, his flies off the tape, literally. He runs like a 4.3. And I think at free safety, because that allows Cal to come down and be that Swiss Army knife, I think it's going to be hard for teams to kind of pass on that. Him and Cal Hamilton are similar in build, but he's faster than Cal Hamilton, which is fine because we're not asking him to do what we ask Cal to do. But I think that I love his spots where he is and where he could be, because I think teams may have some questions regarding his playability and consistency as well. So then they may cause him to drop a little bit, which works out for us because once again, I think that he will be a great addition in Baltimore. So the 2 safeties I want to look at. Let's go to edge. There's a couple edge guys that I've been looking at and just saying, okay, they could be there for us at 27. I have heard the name Mike Green from Marshall. I don't know if he's going to drop to us at 27. He's touted to go in the teens. But once again, I like his game. Good guy. I like James Pierce Jr. from Tennessee. Now I'm gonna be honest with you. The first impressions that I got from James Pierce was from NCAA 25. I mean, in the game, he was dominant. I know that's crazy to say, but in the video game of NCAA, James Pierce Jr., if you play with UTK, off the edge had that elite quick jump, crazy. So I think that he definitely could do something as an edge rusher guy. I mean, he does definitely. I think he's elite quickness off the edge for sure. He's had some, from what I've heard, character issues, which could have him to drop. But I think he'd be a very intriguing process in Baltimore because of the locker room that we have, and for our need of pass rush. So I think that he will be a very good and I think interesting draft pick for us coming out of this draft as a defensive end. I would not be mad at that pick at all if we were to draft James Pierce Jr. out of Tennessee. Let's see. Let me give you some guards. I think the biggest guard name I'll give y'all is the one we've always been hearing, which is Tyler Booker. Tyler Booker's a guy, once again, I don't think that he's going to be there for us, but he's from the University of Alabama. Once again, a big human being, like I said about Derek Harmon earlier, big human being. But the young man loves the game of football. He's set in his presser. He likes to just dominate his opponent. He really is infatuated with, putting people on their back, really embarrassing people in front of their families. And that's the kind of guy that you want as a mauler, as an offensive lineman. But also to protect your quarterback. I mean, we have to protect our investment of Lamar Jackson. He's, one of the best quarterbacks, if not, I say the best quarterback currently in the NFL. And so we want to protect him. And so I think that comes with having guys like this who are, big and physical down low, as we are also a heavy run team with Derrick Henry in the backfield and Lamar Jackson. And like I said, we got Justice Hill and these guys, and Keith Mitchell will be coming back this year. So I think that, having guys in your backfield and having guys in your offensive line who are maulers and have that kind of mentality works out very well for you as a team and as an organization. Let's see. Any other first round talent I really like for us? I think could fall, because I think there's just guys who just won't fall. Obviously, I thought if Travis Hunter would fall to the Ravens, who wouldn't want to take Travis Hunter? Obviously that's not happening. Abdul Carter, don't think he's gonna drop. It would be great, but I don't think he's obviously gonna drop. First round grade worthy Ravens. I think I kind of named them all, in all honesty with you. Yeah, I mean, we've seen some other names. Maxwell Harrison out of Kentucky is at corner, but I think we get to a certain point where it's like the Ravens could also trade back and trade out of the first round potentially and get some, just start off early second round to get some guys once again with 11 picks. So this is the other thing I've been thinking about and hearing too. I mean, Ravens, we got 11 picks. Trade up. Go get some guys. Make something shake, man. I mean, I think we really could shake up some things in the draft. We were to trade up from some of them picks and go get somebody who we think could go be one of them ones. I don't think we trade up far enough to get Travis Hunter or Will Campbell or nobody like that. But I mean, if we trade up into the teens, I'm gonna get a Tyler Booker or Derek Harmon, or if you wanted to go receiver, if you wanted to go high edge, you could go do that. I just think that there's some guys, I mean, we just obviously won't go get, but I think that there will be some very good picks for us in the early rounds. Some other guys later on in the draft I think could really help us. I'm going to give y'all just a couple names to watch out for later on. Shavon Revel, he's a corner from ECU. I believe that young man had a first round grade before he chose ACL. Because of that, that's going to help him to drop out of the first round, I believe. And because of that, he probably drops to second. And he probably won't get out of the second without being drafted. But if he's there at 59 for the Ravens in the second round, honestly, I'm going to take him. And I'll tell you why. I mean, his tape speaks for itself. I think Buddy ran like a 4.28, 4.3. Obviously, didn't have to run this year outside of that after his ACL injury. But I think that he proved with his tape from ECU that he could be very good in the NFL. So I will be very intrigued to see what he looks like on the Ravens. Another name I want to give y'all, let's see. Jack Sawyer. I think he'll be a good edge rusher. I believe that Jordan Birch. I want to see Jordan Birch. I could see him being a Raven too. He's from Oregon, plays with a little bit of nastiness that I like. Um, Xavier Watts at safety. I like his game. There's been some guys, obviously, that the Ravens have gone and kind of talked to in this top 30 that obviously in the later rounds, we always see these kind of projections and things like that. So there's been a lot of those guys as well. And I can't name them off the top of my head, but I think we've talked to some good young men who could work out for the Ravens. I think getting later into the draft, while running back wise, Dylan Sampson from Tennessee. I like his game. I like the way he runs that ball. He toes the peel. Andrew Makuba from Texas, another safety. I like his game. I like his game a lot. I like Makuba's game at safety. So if we don't get an early round safety, I think some second round, third round safeties. Makuba's up there. Quincy Riley, corner from Louisville. I like his game. Going through this board now, man. Just trying to see who else I like in this. That's another name. So linebacker. Watch out for this. So we don't have a history of drafting Clemson guys. We have an opportunity to do it this year. And I really like this guy right here. Well, listen to his name. Barrett Carter from Clemson. That young man, as a Clemson fan, I had the opportunity, obviously, to watch him a lot this past season. But that young man right there, I think he has a very, very, very bright future in the NFL. So I would not be mad at the Ravens getting him in the third round. I would say third round for sure. He'd be another third round pick, and that's fitting because the Ravens drafted Trenton Simpson in the third round. But I think I could see him coming into the Ravens, him and Trenton, learning from Roquan, and one of them taking over as that number two beside Roquan, either Trenton or Barrett Carter. I like both of their games a lot. 6', 231. I like him. I like what he does. I don't know if he's as fast as Trenton is, just as an all-around guy, but the way he plays ball at linebacker, yeah, I like that guy a lot. So another guy to watch out for, I think, as a Ravens fan, we should watch out for him, Ravens fans. Tell me what y'all think about that in the comments for sure. Let's see. That's all I got for right now. Let's stop there. So let's go over this, man. We're going into this upcoming season. Obviously, our goal is the same thing every year: win a Super Bowl. I think that the Ravens fans, I want a Super Bowl. I'm ready to talk my stuff about the Ravens, and it's hard to do that when we're not getting over the hump. And I think that teams are really plotting on us, plotting on our downfall. Fans are definitely plotting on our downfall, plotting on Lamar, saying he can't get the job done. I don't know. That's not the case, bro. And I don't believe it is the case. So I think it's time for us to change that narrative, man. And it all starts here, starts next week with this draft. So I think that it's time. It's time. It's time for us to once again win the division again. I don't want to hear anything else about Joe Burrow and the Bengals. I know they got the contract done with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, but I think that's another that we draft corner. That's another reason that we get some more D-line help, to get some more edge pressure, to get some more sacks, because the Bengals offensive line is atrocious. So I think that we also have to draft to combat what our division is doing, right? The Bengals, like I said, with outside of the receivers, the defense still sucks. So I think we're able to score, but let's be dominant whenever we playing against them. I don't want to have a shootout, So I think defensively and offensively, we can do some things to help ourselves in that particular situation. We lost again to Cleveland last year. I hated that. So let's be more dominant once again defensively, get some more sacks, or catch the picks that are thrown our way from the quarterbacks. And then Pittsburgh is in a tight spot. Yeah, they traded for DK. However, they have no quarterback right now. So until they draft a quarterback that I think is competent enough to lead them, I'm not even going to worry about them or Cleveland. So right now, I think our biggest, and I hate to say threat because I don't really see Cincinnati as a threat. I just think offensively they're obviously really good. As a team, I don't see them as a threat at all. So I think the division is ours to lose, Ravens fans. I totally agree with that for sure. Respect the other teams in the division, obviously, but also don't like y'all because y'all, are our ops, rightfully so. So I think the division is ours to lose. So that leads us once again to another successful regular season, which we've had every year since Lamar's been there, outside of some of those injury years, right? When he's healthy, we win. That's period, point blank. So I think the now thing is keep everybody healthy as best as we can. We know that the injuries, you know, it's a grueling sport. Football is a grueling sport, but I think keeping people as healthy as we can, help. But also having depth helps that as well. So it's in our best interest to draft guys who can be durable and help for the foreseeable future. So I think it's on us as a team and as an organization to kind of get those guys in the building that can and will do that for us. So I'm super excited about this draft because I really want to see how we move with these 11 picks that we have. And I think the EDC, I trust them wholeheartedly to make the right decisions when it comes to that, whether it be trading down. We usually don't ever trade up, and I'm honest with you, in the first round at least. So, or the second round. So us trading up is not really on my forefront of my mind. If he does trade up, he really likes somebody. He really likes somebody. And I saw a report that said he's already taken like 15 guys off the board for the first round due to meetings, injury, whatever the case may be. Does that mean they're off the board completely? No, but it just means the first round is it's not probably a lot that they liking right now enough to move up. So I think that leaves us with some opportunity to, find some guys or potentially, like I said, trade down, get some more picks to potentially trade up later. It's going to be a lot of moving and shaking in Baltimore over the next week or two. And so I expect us to come into this season, man, with a lot going on. Coming to this season, I have high expectations every year as a Ravens fan. And I know some organizations can't say that. So I love the fact that we're able to come into every season with high expectations that our team can get the job done. But I really want to be able to put that foot on the gas, put that foot on the opposition's necks, and really just dominate from start to finish. Don't hold ourselves back. Don't beat ourselves. Don't do none of that. Like let's just stomp in everybody's head from jump, and we're good to go. You feel me? So I'll say this: I've given you guys some people that I think could help change our team in the earlier rounds as well as some of the later rounds as well. If y'all have anybody that y'all think, hey, we should get them in the first or second round, put it in the comments, man. I really want to hear from y'all in regards to this upcoming draft. Do y'all think that we're going to use our 11 picks? Will we get rid of some picks? Will we wind up trading Mark Andrews? Will we trade somebody else I'm not even thinking about right now to make space or make room? Will we trade for somebody else? I mean, if we could go trade for a corner. Jalen Ramsey's on the trade block right now. Now, do we have the money to pay him? No, we don't. But hey, it's draft time. So I mean, it could be something, EDC could do. Jair Alexander has been rumored to be on the trade block. So yeah, we just signed a Woozier from Tennessee, but can EDC pull off another thing where like we get another draft night trade going? You know what I'm saying? I think that's always a possibility as well. We've seen those countless times from multiple teams, including the Ravens, with a few years back, like I said, with the Hollywood trade. So man, please in the comments, talk to me about how y'all feel about this upcoming draft as a Ravens fan. Talk to me about, how y'all feeling about this upcoming season as a Ravens fan. Do y'all think that we have what we need currently to get the job done? And who y'all think could really help us get that job done? And what would be our biggest holdback if we don't get it done this year? Obviously, we just signed John Harbaugh back to be our head coach for the next couple of years. They're working on an EDC contract. They've already said that they're working on a new Lamar Jackson extension. So I think some things are in the air for us to kind of be great. And so I really want to see us be great, man. I think we got some talent coming in this draft that can really help us on both sides of the ball. And I want to see us use and get the best and most effective talent on the Ravens team. I'm selfish to my core when it comes to the Ravens. I always want the best and the brightest to be Ravens. So that's a plethora of these young men I think could come in and help us do that. I don't want to see us whiff at any draft position or anything like that. So as always, listen, I appreciate y'all here staying with me for these 40 minutes. I didn't even realize I was going this long. I've just been talking. But I love the Ravens, if y'all didn't know. So please, I told the guys I get this in, man. I really wanted to come in here and talk about my Ravens and get what I had to say off my chest about the Ravens before we get into this mock draft season and the official draft next week. So prayerfully, I'll be watching. I'll be live and direct. We will be having a live draft show next Thursday. We'll also be doing a mock draft next week. So please stay tuned. We appreciate all the love, the support, man, that y'all continue to do. The subscribers here in the United States, the subscribers that we have now across the pond in the UK and other locations. And we appreciate y'all. subscribing and listening to the podcast. So please like, comment, subscribe, and I appreciate y'all always tapping in with me, giving me energy, giving me all that we need to continue to push through. If y'all can help us, y'all think it can be better anyway for y'all. Anything y'all want me to talk about, anything y'all want me to talk about specifically on the pod, I'll be down to do. Anything y'all want the guys to talk about, Colin and Hundo, we'll definitely do that as well. We appreciate, like I said, all of the support, man. It really means a lot to us. We want to continue to put out good content for y'all as listeners and viewers. This is who we do it for, man. We love sports, and I love football more specifically, even the most for me. And so, speaking on the Ravens, man, it just came naturally, easily to me. So, man, I know I talked about the Ravens tonight, but if y'all want to talk about your team in the comments and what you think your team is going to do in this upcoming draft, let me know. If you're going to any games this year, let me know. Ravens games, or let me know which games y'all going to. So I might pop up to a game or two. I'm definitely trying to get to a game. Me and my brother and some of my friends trying to get to a game or two this year for sure. In Baltimore, or maybe even an away game. So check out different atmospheres. So I'll definitely be around. But like I said, it starts right here. This is the time that it starts. We get the newest Ravens. We get ready to see how this season starts to work, man. So I'm excited for everything to kind of get going. Been in, I feel like, in a off period for a minute. I know the Super Bowl just happened at the beginning of February, but I feel like I've been not watching football for a minute, and I already miss it. And I've enjoyed basketball and things like that, but for me personally, nothing hits more than football. So, man, I'm done talking. I've been talking for a long time. So please, like I said, like, comment, subscribe, and continue to watch the podcast. Man, we love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Peace. Hey, Jay out.